let's talk about Wikelo. Scrips, Wikelo, favors, inventory. Somebody is screeching on the ground right now because I just triggered them. This is very quickly highlighting a problem that I think everybody recognizes, and that the inventory system in this game is not very great. We talked about it earlier today. It was added in a more official sense all the way back in 3.15, and over the course of time since then, it's gotten some improvements here and there. But I want to lay out what happened last year that I think put us in the position we're in right now. Last year, 3.24 released freight elevators and persistent hangars. This is a big feature because it allows them to finally physicalize basically everything we're doing in terms of cargo. It was like the ultimate culmination of the cargo refactor that started getting implemented, I think, back here in 3.18. Maybe it might have been 3. Yeah, this cargo refactor started in 2023, March 10th, kind of culminated in the big addition of freight elevators in 3.24. Freight elevators brought with them a new interface. We know this interface well because we've been abused by it. I'm sure I can find it somewhere here. Here we go.
Now, you do have to be careful about, like, if you want to call up a ship.
This interface was made for freight elevators. I think that's pretty clear. But they tried to apply it also to the inventory. And we absolutely hated it. It was like the worst thing. I don't know if it's in this video. I think this is also just about freight elevators. Yeah, this was... They didn't show it that much. And this is, I think, part of the big tell is, like, as you try and look around for sources of this inventory system, most of the time that you see them showing it, they are showing the freight elevator UI because, as you can see, I'm basically, here we go. Here it is. So, freight manager, yes, right? A thing. But then also you can see that they kind of came in and put it in somewhere else that is not. Here we go. They put them else at these places, these kiosks. Now the kiosks, in my opinion, great idea. It requires a physical location for that inventory. That's the same as the hangars, but kiosks are not hangars, and they made it so that the interface had the exact same functionality. So when it came into the game, instead of just getting your stuff from the inventory, you would still need to move your stuff from your warehouse over to, like, the physical location that is the kiosk, which would have been your hangar on the other interface. And then you have to press the button to open the drawer, which is equivalent to raising the elevator in the other interface. And then you have to back out and pick the stuff up from the drawer, which is the equivalent of you picking up the boxes from the freight elevator. So you could see it was a one-to-one translation of the freight elevators to the inventory, and it was awful. So they took it out immediately. And we don't have to deal with it now, but now we have this kind of halfway point where we're using the old inventory they didn't expect to be using this long, and it just doesn't work well. So you're seeing in very, very great quality, you're seeing how people are struggling to deal with, like, stacking this stuff, with turning it in, with just playing the game that they're designing to be fun, but kind of missing out on the fun part of that. So you can go through these comments and people are talking about, like, the inventory rework is coming. One of the features that should have been pushing next to the bug and stability fixes this year if they want the game to feel like an actual game. Afrolicious Funk, you're absolutely right. This is playability. And so I think that we are going to see an inventory update this year. I think that's actually one of the more important things they need to do in terms of playability. They can't leave the inventory unchanged this year and still claim that they are focused on playability. In fact, I'll go so far as to say somebody clip this. And if we don't have an updated inventory by the end of the year, we're all going to watch this clip together and rage about it right here, right on this stream. Because the scripts have absolutely made it clear that it needs to change. I mean, we're now starting to collect items that we need to be able to quickly turn into locations that aren't just freight elevators or with some specific kind of interface. They need to unify the way that we're moving things from stores into stores to other people and things like that. Because, I mean, look at this. And it used to be worse. It used to be like you couldn't really stack things. It used to be you couldn't control click or shift click or double click to move. Like, they've made improvements over time. It just, they met that alpha level of, oh, okay, this is good enough, but we're not at alpha anymore. Sorry about it. They don't even call it an alpha anymore. They call it early access. So I do think that they are on the clock for making sure this works more like an actual game. And yeah, so here's another one. Please change how you make scripts into favors. Let's see what they say. You've made it so easier for us to get scripts lately by the Hunt, the Polaris contracts, and Foxwell. I ask, why can't you revamp the way you deliver scripts to Wikelo by either of these ways? Basically, let's see. They're not physicalized, will damage some of the loops. I think they should be physicalized. You can go to the terminal at Wikelo's Emporium and buy favors using scripts. We already have UEC and Kletcher merits. What's another currency? This way scripts are treated as a commodity, but you can only sell them for favors. I think one of the great parts about them is that they're physicalized. It offers a nice physical alternative to UEC. My big thing would be that it's just still so limited. Yeah, so his suggestion too, scripts remain physicalized. You deliver scripts in the same way as you deliver contraband to the terminals and gain favors this way. I think that his point is you currently have to turn in scripts at the freight elevator, right? Vrutu, you had to stack 1,800 individual scripts yesterday. That's just game ruining. I can't even say choices, consequences, actions, pick your pain, because that shouldn't be necessary in a game. Nobody's looking at stacking gameplay and thinking, I'm glad they spent time on this. Because we could do that on our own. You could find 1,800 boxes to stack. You don't got to force other people to do that. This is also another one I've heard. Basically, when you're doing Wikelo's missions, because of the way you get told to turn these scripts in, it's actually location specific. But it doesn't use the current mission settings that the rest of the new missions are supposed to, the localized missions, these combat missions. So you could be at Hurston and get sent to Wikelo's Emporium over at Microtech, and then you fly all the way over to turn those in. Well, then you still have to go through that process of unstacking and stacking all these scripts. And then, this is not firsthand knowledge, I have not gotten to do this enough, but I'm hearing that the rewards are RNG. So outside of scripts, when you're retaining materials around the verse to go turn into this guy to get certain things, you still have the chance of not getting the thing you want. And I can't stress enough that my little undeveloper gamer brain feels like this is just so wrong. Like, if you are purposefully hunting down a grocery list of materials, you should turn that in and get the groceries. No, that's not right. You should take that home and be able to cook the meal. There it is. I feel like, yeah, we're missing the plot, because we're all supposed to be running on an economy where you can expect what's supposed to happen when something specific happens. If you go and do a whole bunch of mineral stuff and you get certain scripts, you should be able to go to a storage of a faction and be like, I have these materials. What can you make with them? Or what can you give me for them? It should be bartering. It should be trading, not gambling. Inventory kept resetting after a few seconds, so your 100 plus stacks would go back to 0. Ugh. Nah, man. See, I was very happy with the scripts because it seemed like a way to get away from RNG. It seemed like a way for you to be able to get rewarded for doing something in the game and not necessarily being forced to take from some predefined pot of rewards for that specific thing. So I don't know what their plan is here. Long term, I hope that scripts are just a straightforward physicalized currency. I hope these missions, I think these missions will be properly physicalized in their place, and you won't have to fly across the system for them. Obviously, he needs multiple locations so that multiple people can be going and using that service at the same time. I just think that they need to make sure you can turn anything in at any of the locations, right? It's all just instanced across the system. And we need a better system to exchange than with the freight elevators. And we definitely need a better UI. Also, no RNG. We don't need RNG. Just rep gate and scripts. Just let scripts be a currency. It's RNG, spent God knows how long farming 1,000 script and spent hours turning that in for 20 favors, then you were awarded the most useless ship in SC, the Saber Racing. Sure, the Peregrine? Yeah, man, see, that's not how this should be. Why? Yeah, no, this can't be RNG. So this is becoming a slowly growing thing, and honestly, I am really happy with scripts. I think that they're a great kind of feature, but it seems like the way that they're being implemented, along with the way that Wikelo is being handled in terms of his rewards and his missions, combined with the bad state of the inventory, all of this is really, really making one of the better additions to this game in years land a little flat. Even if this was something that they changed later on, they started to make it more RNG later on, as like the very first couple of months that this is in the game, this should really be popping off. This should be a very exciting area for them to just experiment with things that they're adding. You know, they're talking about adding in these components to ships and then getting the ships in game where you can't buy them. You can only earn them from Wikelo. This is all good, but it starts to fall apart if it's RNG. And don't even get me started on the fact that, well, we'll get to flight blades and components. I won't bring that one into this talk. You wish credits were physicalized as cred chips? I wish there were physicalized cred chips as well as AUEC. But I think the scripts make up for that. As long as there is like a currency that can be looted, that adds a lot to the game in my opinion. No reason why we can't use MoTrader to pay traders as well as other players. Agreed. What if you could merge scripts into crates to manage easier? That would be great. And if you could just sell the scripts, that would work. Because you can do that right now when you're looting. You put everything in a crate and then you sell the crate at the store. Just make sure all the items within the crate are checked and you'll bulk sell everything in the box. Now, if that worked with scripts and Wikelo, that's a workaround for now. The only one Wikelo that is not RNG is gun conversions and the Polaris. Yeah, that's not, I don't like that. You still need to do so much even when you get the scripts. Which feels like more of a problem to me now. You know, like when the game has enough going on, we don't really, it's like, it's one of the things you do while you're on the way to somewhere else, right? Or doing your normal day's errands. But right now, because we're so focused on that one thing, it feels like so much more work to take it to him. Taking it to him actually is not the work part. It's the hangars and the elevator stuff. And I feel you on that. I do agree with you there. RNG SIPs is not going to work without being able to sell ships in game. No one will want 7 holes on your ASOP. Yeah, that's a good point. Turn the 50 scripts into another token and then trade for token. You take the scripts in the SU box, drop it down the elevator, and move them into Wikelo's inventory. Okay, so that does help. You still have to get all the scripts into the box though, huh? The scripts do like the Beskar. Yeah, similar. Yeah, RNG for looting for sure. And like resource spawning and stuff like that. But when it comes to us trading in things for stuff, we should know what we're trading in for. This is a game that asks for your time, okay? All this time I've been like, hey now, if this isn't the game for you, then if you don't like a game that takes time, that's okay. There are other games that don't take as much time and you can go and play those. But I think one of the trade-offs for giving this game your time should be that you know what you're getting out of it. At least to some extent. At least when you're putting your resources towards it. Otherwise, then how are you going to make people trade for that time? You know, like it's either, hey, you take a lot of time and you get what you want, or we give you a way to pay past that time. You pay money, you don't take that time, but you don't know what you're getting. Give them loot boxes on the store. I'm kidding. Please don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. It's a joke. Yeah, see, here's another comment on this. Grind 1000 script. Go through the faff of trading it all for favor. Spin the wheel and your reward is a misfortune. Yeah, this is, people aren't into this. This update seems to be shaping up really nice. See, now that's how you know they're not a hater, right? They're looking forward to the update. But I also hope they change the favor system to at least be available at all locations simultaneously. Like there's realistic criticism for Wikelo. I think Wikelo is also a really great opportunity for CIG, but I think they're kind of squandering it by not making the most out of it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's just kind of a look at the inventory combining with the script stuff and how that's sort of messing things up. It's funny we're talking about this because loot was dead, right? And item recovery killed it. We'll see where this goes. We'll touch back on it in a couple weeks.